Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss about gel characters of viruses. Viruses are acellular microorganisms. The term virus is derived from a Latin word which means poison. The meaning of virus is poison or venom. Venom is nothing but poison. Poison is nothing but the meaning of virus. In 1886, Adolf Meyer is the scientist who first observed the virus in tobacco mosaic plants. So, the TMV, tobacco mosaic virus, is the first virus which discovered. Virus is an ultramicroscopic infectious agents that are metabolized inert and which multiply only within the living host. They doesn't have any machinery. Coming to the general characters of viruses, viruses are metabolically inert. That means they doesn't have any machinery to metabolize themselves. They always depends upon the host cells. Viruses are obligate intracellular parasite. What is the meaning of parasite? Parasites are the organisms which depends upon the other organism for their energy sources. Viruses cannot make energy or proteins independently. They always depend upon the host. Viruses multiply inside the living host using the host cell machinery only. They doesn't have any machinery to multiply. Next, coming to the viruses as living things. How we can treat viruses as a living things? Viruses has different strains. They have own genetic material. They undergo mutations. They cannot be destroyed by ultraviolet rays. These 4 points makes that viruses as living things. Next, coming to viruses as non-living things. They lack cellular structure. They doesn't have any nucleus, any mitochondria, any plastids, any flagella. They do not respire. They cannot breathe. They do not move and they cannot grow. They cannot crystallize and stored in the bottles like chemicals. They can be crystallized and stored in bottles like chemicals. They lack enzyme system and they do not metabolize their activity by their own machinery. So these points prove that viruses as a non-living thing. Okay, next coming, there is a question arises, are viruses are alive or not? Here few points will explain viruses are alive. Some points explain viruses are not alive. Here we are discussing about what are the no and what are the yes things. First we are discussing, are viruses alive? The complication is no. Here they are not made up of cells or organelles. That means the viruses does not consist of any cells or organelles. The viruses cannot be reproduced without host. Other is, they do not have both RNA and DNA. They can having only either RNA or DNA. They cannot metabolize energy. They cannot produce energy by themselves. So these things explain the viruses is a dead things. But the viruses is a living things which explain the following points. They can reproduce themselves by using host replicatory machinery. They have the genetic material, DNA or RNA. They can adapt to the surroundings. They have organization. So these points will explain the viruses is a living thing. Okay, coming to the habitat, viruses not able to survive without the host cells. Just remember, viruses cannot survive without the host cell. So active viruses reside inside a host body. They are always present inside the host body. They are parasites, intracellular parasites. Intracellular parasites means the organisms which live inside of the host. They are present either in bacterial cell, either in animal cell or either in plant cell. Example, herpes virus, TMV, bacteriophages. So these are the habitats of the viruses. Next, coming to the size of the viruses, viruses are very much smaller than the bacteria. The viral size ranges from 20 to 1400 nanometers. Example, poliovirus is 30 nanometers. Giant mimivirus are up to 800 nanometers. These are some of the structures of the viruses. bacteriophage, TMV, DNA viruses, RNA virus, rabies virus, influenza virus. Okay. Next, different shapes of the viruses. Viruses have different shapes. They are rod shaped, bullet shaped, filament shaped, icosahedral shaped, and tadpole shaped. Next, coming to the viral structure. Virus consists of nucleic acid and protein. Genome or the nucleic acid is covered by a protein called capsid. Capsid is nothing but the protein coat of the virus. Some virus have envelope outside the capsid. Capsid without the envelope is called as naked. Here you can see different parts of the virus. Here one is capsid, the coat of protein. Capsid is nothing but the coat of protein that surrounds DNA or RNA, that is called as capsid. Capsid is nothing but the protein coat. Then coming to the nucleic acid, it may consist of either RNA or DNA. Next, it consists of a tail fibers. These tail fibers are helps for the attachment to the host cell. The shape of the tail fibers may vary. Here you can see the viral structure, envelope, capsid, and viral coat. This is the structure of viruses. Next, coming to the viral genome, it consists of either DNA or RNA. It may be single-stranded or it may be double-stranded. Sometimes the genome may be circular or linear shape. Here you can see the viral genome, DNA viruses, RNA viruses, single-stranded DNA, double-stranded DNA, single-stranded RNA, single-stranded RNA viruses, retroviruses examples. So these are the viral genome. Next, coming to the viral capsid, viral nucleic acid is surrounded by a protein coat is called as capsid. Capsid is nothing but the protein coat. Viral capsid has three types. One is helical, icosahedral, and complex. Next, coming to helical symmetry. It is a filamentous capsule, long tube proteins within the genome inside. Example, influenza virus and rabies virus. Here you can see the structure of rabies virus. It is a bullet-shaped organism. Rabies virus, it is a zoonotic disease, can be transmitted through humans through the bite of mad dog. Influenza virus, it is a respiratory infection, respiratory virus. It attacks to the lungs. Next, coming to the HIV. It belongs to the family Retroviridae. HIV, it is a sexually transmitted disease. Next, cubic or icosahedral symmetry. It is made up of icosal capsid. It has 20 triangular shapes. Example for this is HIV, hepatitis B virus, and adenovirus. Next, coming to the complex symmetry, the head of the virus is cube and the tails is helical. Example, pox virus and bacteriophage. Bacteriophage means the virus which infect the bacteria is known as bacteriophage. Coming to the replication, viral replication include two types. One is lytic cycle and the other is lysogenic cycle. Coming to the lytic cycle, there are 5 steps. One is attachment, second is penetration, third is replication of nucleic acids, third one is maturation, fifth one is release of new virons. The first step is attachment. The virus lands on the cell membrane. The virus attaches to a cell receptors. The virus acts as a key to the receptors. The virus comes and attached. The next stage, the second stage is entry. The virus enzymes weakens the cell membrane. Weakens the cell membrane. So the genetic material, either RNA or DNA, enters into the host cell. Next, the third step is replication. Virus DNA or RNA uses ribosomes to make virus protein. The protein is created by transcription and translation. The virus protein makes new virus particles. Next, the fourth step is assembly. New viral parts are assembled in the cytoplasm. All the new viral parts are assembled in the cytoplasm. So, the final step is the lysis. The newly found phages are released from the infected cell. So the new host cell, they can go and infect the new host cell. So attachment, penetration, the penetration, after penetration, transcription, biosynthesis will be occurs. After that, maturation will be occurs. Then lysis of the host cell, the lytic multiplication means, lytic cycle means it lyses the host cells and the progeny of the viruses are released and they can affect the new host. They can infect the new host. This is about lytic cycle. Last step, the viral enzymes causes cell membrane to lysis, break down. New viruses are released to find new hosts. The cycle will be repeats like this. Here you can see the lysis. Here the whole cycle of lysis of the cell and the release, attachment, penetration, integration, assembly and lysis. That is the lytic cycle. And here you can see the lysogenic cycle. The prokaryotic cell is shown with its DNA. The bacteriophage attached. First, the bacteriophage will attach and it penetrates into the cell. The phage DNA then moves to the cell to the host DNA. The phage DNA integrates itself into the host cell's DNA, creating prophase. The prophase then remains dormant until the host cell divides. After the host cell has divided, the phage DNA in the daughter cells activated and the phage DNA begins to express itself. Some of the cells containing the prophase go on to creating new phages which will move on to the infect other cells. Here you can see the diagram. So that is lysogenic cycle. Lysogenic cycle, it replicates, it doesn't lysis up the cell. It can move along with the bacterial DNA. Next, what are the advantages and limits of the lytic and lysogenic cycle? Coming to the lysis cycle, replication of new viruses is very fast. It lyses the cell and the viruses can be released. However, the host is also immediately killed, preventing the viral genome from passing on to the next generation of the host. So these are the advantages and uses of lytic cycle. Whereas the lysogenic cycle, many more viruses can be made because viral genome is passed on to the future generation of the host. Here it is integrated into the chromosome of the bacteria or host cell. It doesn't lysis the host cell. However, replication takes longer because it is dependent on the host cell's replication. Next, coming to the conclusion, viruses are the infectious particles which replicates only inside of the host. It attacks plants, animals and bacteria. The replication exhibit both lytic and lysogenic cycle. They exhibit both living and non-living characters. They are also called as organisms at the edge of the life. Okay, these viruses may also called as organisms at the edge of the life. Okay, Amma, viruses are acellular organisms. Here in this diagram, you can see nowadays we are suffering with the coronavirus. Whatever the character I told, it is also related to the coronavirus. So this virus is very complicated virus. It can mutate themselves. So it can be spread easily from one person to other person. So we should be very careful regarding this acellular organisms that are nothing but viruses. Thank you.